is a petition that garnered over 2,000 signatures. Let's keep going. We're filming. That's what's happening right now in the hallway. Students are sitting down. This is open to seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, all underclassmen. I have people standing there right now. Yeah, I know. She's aware of this sit-in, and we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. Dispersed from the fourth floor all the way up to the sixth floor, but now it has all been consolidated onto the fourth floor. To speak during this sit-in because classroom they're still having discussions and regular classes are going on. You can actually exchange your pens. This is the protest section.
We can't talk to them. Wait, can you go to the Can you go to the You have to interview people. Interview Caitlin. She's the
just make mad.
I'm just gonna interview what we can.
For all folks who are black during this protest, demonstrate a sense of solidarity. I know. Some teachers might have been aware of this protest. Some teachers may not have been aware of it.
Hi, Mom. How's it going?
Not everyone is allowed to go right now. Students are clearly curious as to what's going on.
Up. What? The students? I think Andrew does a good point.
Okay.
I know. Can we interview you guys? Here on live stream. You don't have to. No? Can we interview you?
Who's the other? Yeah, who's the other?
Okay.
Who's the other?
This is live stream.
Can I interview you either? You don't want to be interviewed?
Yeah, I don't know how much I can say because I don't want to get in trouble. Because like I'm going to be on the C30 and I don't want to post it.
Just asking. So we're live streaming right now on Facebook on the THHS Classic Food. So if we were to ask you why you're here today, can you tell us why? Can you give us an answer? Why did you think it was necessary to? You don't want to comment? You don't want to comment?
So I think the reason that we're here today is to protest against making Principal Johoda a permanent principal, Townsend Harris. She treats teachers unfairly. Everything that she's doing is unfair to everyone in the school. Clothing doesn't seem allowed and everything. So we're here to protest on that.
Thank you. Would you like your name to be public?
No, everyone knows what I am.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Up. Up.
Go back up. Go back up.
Is everyone on Facebook?
You want to? Let's do it. It's fine. Just keep walking.
Live stream, yeah. Live stream. Hey, do you want to interview? Sure. Okay. So, what do you? Why are you here today at the sit-in?
I'm here today at the sit-in because I don't like the actions taken by our new principal, Principal Johoda, and I find it a shame for her to continue being the principal of the school. She refuses to do simple things like science memberships for research competitions that we work so hard for, and I don't think that's fair to us students.
Do you think that this is going to be successful?
I hope so.
You've heard future, talk to me because I'm the superintendent and I know what's going on here. You're the class president? You're Alex?
What?
So you have heard, okay, so there's different people protesting for different things. You told me collaboratives. You're telling me an increase in money toward math and sciences. Okay, so you think next year there's going to be more math and science courses, and you don't want more math and science courses? But how do you know there's going to be a decrease in humanities? Do you believe that students should have choice? Do you believe that all students at the school want the same thing? Are you aware of all the course selections that are offered at this school? Do you believe that students should just have a right to choose courses? So should programming be decided by kids or adults? So you would be okay with changes as long as it was student driven? Through many large schools have just course selections. The kids sign up for, especially their junior and senior years. And so some kids may want to go humanities route, and some kids may want to go to a math and science route. So you would be okay as long as it was student driven. Programming driven by student interest rather than the bickering of adults. Hi, why are you sitting here today?
Recording on this discussion that's going on between the deputy superintendent and the principal.
Of the humanities, and I think that's a very important thing that we should follow and
What makes you think that Principal Jehoda does not represent the ideals you said of Townsend Harris?
for instance, she thinks that a lot of the processes that we have to do here should be changed because they're not effective anymore. I think the
Give me an example of a process that she wants to change that she feels is not effective.
Well, the process it takes for us to provide trips for students. The process is going to be lengthened, which I mean wouldn't necessarily be a problem, except there's a lot of things that we find out on the day of, and we'd like to schedule trips so everyone will have an opportunity to learn about them. And if the process is lengthened, then we won't be able to do that.
What do you mean by all across the city there's only one process for trips? I'm one of the people that approves trips, so I know a lot about trips. So explain to me what you think the process is and what the process should really be. I'm really curious.
In terms of that,
I'm the one that actually approves international trips and stuff like that. So just regular trips.
domestic, yeah.
Okay, so what do you think the process should be?
Well, I don't think that the process, I understand that has to go through the proper channels to make sure that people are held liable in case anything happens. But in terms of that, I think that the teachers are taking proper precautions to make sure that the students are safe when they go on trips.
So the process is the lead chaperone usually fills out a trip request form. And on the trip request form, there are details that need to be filled out before the principal signs off on them, because the principal is the person that's accountable. One of the most important things is that there's an equal number of children to chaperones. That is super important, because no one wants your parents to sue the Department of Education. So I'm a former principal. I would never sign off on a trip form if it was presented to me and it was incomplete and I didn't have all the details, because I'm not losing my job over someone who's not following proper procedures. So the trip form, and it's a really short form, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is fill out one-page request to a principal. You describe the trip, the location, mode of transportation, you know, basic information's on it. So, do you think that's a lot to ask of a teacher to fill out a form before giving it to their supervisor? So, when the trip form's presented to the principal, have you seen the forms? Yeah, the request. Have you ever seen the form? Do you know that it's properly filled out?
My problem is not the form.
What's the problem?
My problem is the length it takes for the forms to be approved.
So, what I'm telling you is it should take literally like a couple of minutes, because if I'm giving you a form and the form is completely filled out, I'm just going to sign right off on it. If you give me a form and it's not filled out properly, I have to give you back the form and you're going to go and fill it out. Now, your teachers are pretty smart people. So if they go back and fill out the form, literally that should just take a couple of minutes. So I'm not understanding why you think
change and also regulation is so good. You can do that. Our problem is that if you're a harassment because when you change the first, that
how are
should
your
not happen.
teachers being harassed? I'm curious.
Well, I can know first what you can ask.
You're speaking, and I believe people should speak from fact. I'm a factual person. This is not about hearsay. Filling out a trip form literally takes 10 minutes. So if you're telling me that the I believe you, maybe because the trip forms aren't being filled out properly, so they're being sent back to the team. Because the principal before was okay with the trip forms not being filled out properly. It was okay with Principal Barbetta. It's not okay with this principal, right? There are different types of leaders, right? So you have a new leader, she wants the paperwork to be done correctly. I actually respect that. Because when you are employed in the real world, you're going to realize that you're held accountable. And if some things aren't done correctly, and then something happens on a trip, it falls on the principal. It falls on the principal. She can lose her job. And when you work really hard, and you go to graduate school and get degrees and get licenses, you don't want your job to be at risk. More importantly, you don't want student safety to be at risk, because a form wasn't filled out correctly. So if you think it's harassment to hold a teacher accountable for filling out a one-page form correctly, I don't consider that harassment. You just said your teachers were being harassed, so I'm curious. Okay, so tell me how your teachers are being harassed. Okay, so I've got harassment of teachers. I have trip form process being taken too long. The other students down there said that there were too many collaterals, an increase in the collaterals. That's what one of the students told me she was sitting in because of the increase in collaterals, and she gave me 2 specific examples. So there seems to be a little bit of miscommunication among students. So you're saying it's a delay in the collateral. She said it was an increase in the collaterals. That's what she's sitting in. She says that some collaterals are unnecessary, and she gave me an example of a collateral in her orchestra class that she thinks it's too much work because they're currently preparing for a concert, and she doesn't think that they should have collaterals. I'm just repeating verbatim what someone down there told me. And someone else said that money is being driven toward math and science classes, and there's no evidence of that either.
I suggest you not to continue interviewing so there are teachers in this situation all the time.
So you think that, why shouldn't I not You're telling me I should interview teachers and not kids? This is your
You are
school.
interviewing kids, yes. I'm saying that you should also go interview teachers to understand the situation and the inside.
Well, I'm a person that's really focused on students, actually. I really care a lot about what students think, and it's important to the superintendent's office that we understand what you want, what you believe, because it really is your school. So I'm actually really happy today that I'm here on a sit-in because I want to hear how you're feeling. That's why I'm interviewing you and not the teachers.
Teachers are also another person.
Are you representing students or teachers?
I'm a student representative, but I also have the teacher's best interest.
You have the teacher's best interest at heart.
I'm pretty sure.
So are you representing the teachers or the students?
I am the representative of the students. I have the
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it goes to the same that everybody here also opposes the respect that teachers should deserve.
But you haven't been able to. How are teachers being disrespected? Okay. I think you should keep your body language.
step
You
away,
need to
Alex.
step away from me.
Alex, you need to step away.
You need to step away from me.
Alex, step back.
Because all I'm doing is interviewing students. Just like you have a right to do the sit-in, I have a right to talk to students. So I'm asking, people are saying that the teachers are being disrespected. I want to know how you feel the teachers are being disrespected.
How better than to ask?
They had no input in
You're
policy
the one that's
changes.
sitting in protest, so you should know the information.
Teachers cannot just simply just sit down here and look at the problem. You need to go into the teachers as well about the situation.
I'm sorry.
I went to Wesleyan University, so I've done a lot of sit-ins, right, in my college. When we were asked why we were sitting in, we could articulate why we were sitting in. So you're telling me that you feel teachers are being disrespected, and I respect that and appreciate it, but I'm asking you how.
Would you like us to give you specific examples of teachers and occupations?
Does someone talk to me without being defensive or
I
aggressive?
completely respect your answer about like us wanting to tell, like you want us to tell you about like teacher harassment. But if you're claiming to us that you don't want to hear hearsay, then us telling you would be hearsay. If a teacher has told us and we told you that is hearsay, that is the
So teachers
law
have told you
definition.
that they've been harassed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you state that you do not want to hear hearsay, that if we do tell it to you, that would be the legal definition of hearsay.
So when a teacher tells you that they're being harassed, you just take that at face value?
No, we evaluate the situation. We clearly, most of the teachers.
What situations have you evaluated to assess the teachers have been harassed?
Well, obviously, we have to realize the fact that if the teacher does not want to do their job, they're not going to spread it to the entire community. They're going
The
to
teachers have spread it to the entire community.
No,
That's why there's a sit-in.
they spread it to certain students, and
To certain students?
the students believe that because those are the teachers that they want to continue to work here. I know teachers who are planning to leave the school because they do not want to continue working here because of the fact that they have been harassed. If it's to that point, then that's completely wrong. We want to keep the good teachers here. We want to keep the teachers that know how to teach and can efficiently teach. If they're thinking about leaving, then what's the point of staying in the school? I know incoming eighth graders who are thinking about applying to Townsend Harris, who completely disregard Townsend Harris now because of the situation that's going on.
So one form of harassment I have is trip forms. That's one example. Does anyone have any other examples that they want to discuss with me?
I don't know if they mentioned. I understand that she wants to abide by what the DOE policies are.
Which DOE policies?
For trips.
Trips again?
No, it says like you guys are talking about
It's
that.
just
so
one
it's
form
fine.
that you hand
I
in.
mean, I did.
It's
more.
just, I've never experienced this in any school. It's one form you hand in, get it signed off. Pretty simple.
However, this is what I heard, that instead of having to hand in the forms 2 weeks before, now it has to be 4 months. However,
4 months before?
however, teachers were not informed of these policy changes. So if she wants to change a policy, then the teacher should be well informed about it so that we can work around that. And
So
also-
teachers are not well informed of policy changes.
Yes. And also, there
Are there any specific policy changes besides trip forms that you can give me an example?
she wants to make uniform the grading policy in our department, which just
That's actually DOE policy.
okay.
You could complain to the chancellor about that. But there is an academic policy guidelines that were published in 2016, and I will be happy to share them with you.
Okay.
And I think we should share them with the students. So,
Can you just let them know about this policy since it just doesn't make sense because some classes have honors, some have lives, and it doesn't make sense that the policy should be the same because also electives also have their own
right.
components.
Right. Well, uniform grading policy doesn't necessarily mean that every teacher is grading in the same way. There is flexibility within a uniform grading policy. So it's how you are defining the term uniform grading policy, right? So that is something that's usually a collaborative effort with the APs, the principal, and the teachers. Many schools are currently revising their uniform grading policies, and we've gotten so many complaints throughout the city of unfair grades from students and parents, that the goal of sitting down and revising the grading policy is so that grading is a transparent and an objective process, so that kids really understand how to get a grade. So for instance, throughout the city, there's like class participation is worth 20% of a grade. I'm making this up, or 50% of a grade. A lot of students and parents are saying, well, what does that mean? How are you assessing class participation? Do I have to raise my hand every day in class and you call on me and I say something? Are you tracking that data? Does it mean that during a group work presentation, that counts as maybe 10 points for the first marking period and the second marking period, right? So people just really want it to be clear how certain aspects of the grade are being calculated. Last year, I can tell you that we had a couple of instances in which kids did not graduate on time because they were failed in their classes, and it just wasn't clear how the teacher came to that grade. So right now across the city, especially in high schools, people are getting together and they're talking about revising the grading policy, right? Times have changed. You don't have the same grading policy for 40, 20 years. So there's schools all throughout the city now that are looking at their grading policy to ensure that they're transparent and objective, and that actually protects kids.
And one thing that I want to continue is why there is a multi-stall residential bathroom on the 6th floor, in which most of the teachers do not have tenure because although it's not the teacher's fault, if anything inappropriate happens in that multi-stall neutral bathroom,
Okay.
someone on that floor must take responsibility for what happens, and most of the teachers on the 6th floor do not have tenure, which is unfair to them. I like that it's a
Well, students, from what I understand, students came and requested the neutral bathroom, right? Because now we have transgender students or students in schools, and they have rights too. And actually, the law does state that in public institutions, there should be a bathroom for those students. So you don't feel that those students have a right?
No, I do feel they have a right. I do not feel that it should be multi-stall.
You don't think it should be multi-stall?
Yes, because things can happen in there, and it is on a floor where most
Right, it's the
teachers
6th
do
floor.
not have tenure, which is unfair to them.
Do you think that currently those bathrooms were being used as storage areas? Do you think that student bathrooms which should be used as storage areas, or do you think the kids should have access to their bathroom? Bathroom. So your issue is single versus multi-stall. Okay.
And if possible, it would be better to even make one of the
So
teacher
quick
bathrooms.
question, right now, Or do teachers have to man the multi-stall bathroom? Were they asked to man a multi-stall bathroom? Because legally, teachers don't man bathrooms.
Or they,
So why are
they
they?
have to take responsibility for anything that happens.
No, that's not a red at all. So you had an idea. Tell me your idea about the bathrooms.
That it should be the staff bathroom on the floor.
Are you kidding me? We're going to take away a teacher's bathroom? You don't think the teachers are going to complain about that?
Or maybe like on a floor where a lot of teachers can see the students work.
What else do you have for me? I like specifics. Thank you.
So this is what I have heard from the student herself, that she does not want there to be too many events representing one cultural group, because that's one of their representation. But she wants each club to have an event before one club has more. Which I think is unfair, because a lot of clubs will not host events. And the multiple events that one club hosts is school-wide, so it's not the same as
So club events. Okay, so some clubs do not host, while others host a lot, but they're all school-wide. So I know that Principal Jehoda meets with students. She does parent breakfasts. Are these, and Alex, do you meet with Principal Jehoda? So have some of these issues come up at your meetings?
Well, you understand that. I apologize for my demeanor.
All right, so let's move past that. We're here
But
to
yes.
problem solve.
But-
I mean, you guys have to move past this because you do have a new principal. Your principal left. He wasn't fired.
transferred.
No, he was not transferred. Barbetta was not transferred. He decided to leave of his own volition. Okay, Principal Barbetta was not transferred. He wasn't fired. He wasn't forced out. That is all rumors and innuendo and gossip and hearsay. He decided to go to Robert F. Kennedy. That was his choice. Okay?
I just have a question.
If you want to ask him why, ask him why. Go to the source. But for people to keep on lying about this is absurd already. Yes. What is the mechanism between communicating your concerns with the principal? There is a mechanism.
Yes, there's a mechanism.
And are you happy with that mechanism?
The mechanism has worked beforehand, but recently teachers felt that they cannot reach out to Principal Jehoda during these meetings beforehand.
But Alex, this is what I'm concerned about. And I understand you're concerned about your teachers and you love your teachers and I respect that. But my concern is that students have voice with their principal. So the mechanism is for you to represent students. The teachers also have a voice. The teachers have faculty meetings. You cannot be the voice of the teachers. The teachers can just speak directly, and they have. And the teachers also have a union rep, right? So that's usually the role of the union rep, to speak on behalf of the teachers. There's a consultative meeting with teachers and the union rep on a monthly basis where that's the forum for discussing grievances, just like students have a forum. So there are different forums for teachers, students to speak with administration. So what I understand is that your teachers are telling you things and it's upsetting you, and you're here to advocate for the adults in the building and their concerns.
Yes,
Is that correct, what I'm saying?
Yes, we are helping to advocate for this, but also that things that happen to the teachers directly also influence how they act in the classroom. What happens to them also happens to us as well. If you went to Sabrina's previous point, when she
But
was
what's
talking-
happening to the teachers that's impacting you?
I can interject. Okay, so when I want to talk to teachers about the new principal, they are uncomfortable to talk about a change, a major change that has happened to the school, and I think that says something that they are uncomfortable with the new principal. And
But she's here right now. Ask her anything you want to ask her.
I mean, there's some things that
Again, it's hearsay. Like, instead of talking to the
no,
teachers,
these
just
are
talk to the
personal
principal.
accounts that I do not feel comfortable sharing.
Well, that's fine.
Can I tell you them?
But all you can tell,
And,
I'm going to be here all
You
day.
can talk to her, but I don't feel comfortable.
I'm right here. You can ask me directly.
We can all talk together.
I don't feel comfortable.
But see, but to me, this is not a transparent process. People saying, "Oh, this happened and that happened." You don't know if it's true.
No, this happens.
It happened to you. Okay.
So, I can talk to you later.
And then do you feel comfortable me relaying your concerns? Because things don't get resolved unless you have open conversations with people.
You can relay it. I just don't
Okay.
want to say it with
Fair enough. Okay, what else do you have on your list?
Can I just say first?
Are you the vice president?
No,
Okay, you're just a student. Okay. What? Who are you?
SLT representative.
Oh, you're an SLT representative. Okay. What's your name?
Caitlin Cassidy.
Oh, so I got you. And what's your name, honey?
Sabrina. Mr. Hoyle. So,
Are you in the 12th grade?
yes, I am.
Are you guys all 12th grade?
If we are not allowed to sit in Miss Wade's office area, while she is not there, or if there are no adults, would it be okay if we stayed there and the door to the guidance office was open? Would that be okay?
As long as they can see it. As long as they can see, and there's currently someone in the office now, so that you don't have to leave. That was actually, came from an anonymous complaint
Yeah, I actually-
from a teacher.
Yeah, we actually got a complaint from a teacher about the student lounge, that they didn't want kids in there without adult supervision. That complaint came to my office from a teacher complaining
so-
about the student lounge.
I just have a question about that too.
So now we spoke about it, and she's going to try and get someone there, because I believe that students should have a lounge. But the adults want an adult in there at all times. So that was a complaint from a teacher.
So the person that is like supposed to be watching over yesterday was Miss Fig's lounge. That was, I forget her name, she works in the SU store. So does that mean that her job is being taken away during that lunch ban in order to watch over the senior class?
I don't know who you're talking about.
The redhead woman, Miss Labuto, yeah. So she was taken out of the lunchroom where she's supposed to be monitoring the SU store for that lunch ban.
Is
but
that an
she was-
aide in this school?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she has like a job in the lunch ban. That's like my concern. And then the students, like underclassmen, only have like one free period. So if they need anything from the SU store,
From the store, then they don't have
it's, yeah,
access.
it's unavailable because she's supposed to be watching like seniors. And
See, these are legitimate concerns. They deal with personnel and where to place people so that the students get the lounge, so that students have access to the store. And it's not, these aren't easy fixes in a school.
yeah, I understand that. Like it's a new rule, but just like that was what I was hearing. It's a student concern.
What happened last year? Who manned the student lounge last year?
It was
We
still
never
Mr.
had those.
Mr. Sante and
seniors
Miss
have
Manhart.
Who?
Mr. Sante and Miss Manhart.
Oh, no,
Mr.
they
Sante.
still can't, are they here?
Yes, they
Yeah.
are here, but they also have other duties and they need to
Right.
attend to the
Right,
school.
so the issue was that the teacher complained that when those two people left the room,
we are
that students were unsupervised and things were happening.
Again, I don't know what things were happening because no one here speaks transparently. Now, that could have just been not true coming from a teacher. I don't like it when things are anonymous, because if a teacher, I would just say, so what things are happening? What are the students doing? Let's talk about it. But if everything is anonymous and secretive, I really don't know what the truth is. Things are happening. Students are doing things. Teachers are being harassed. But what is really happening? No one really knows.
Can I interject and say that I have visibly seen Ms. Fee, a very respected member of our school, she's an APO. She has come out of meetings with principals who are very upset, very strong. Yeah, I've seen, and I've heard. Again, I'm sorry. I wish I could be more specific, but I cannot.
Well, change is difficult for adults.
Change is difficult.
Change is difficult for people, but you have to manage change. You need facts, and you have to take your emotions out of it. The adults in this building are experiencing change, and it's difficult for them. Their leader left.
Change is perfectly fine, but when you're trying to cause change, and teachers are feeling that they are making us feel further strong, upset, not because change is happening, but just how change is occurring. That is a very visible problem, very violent problem.
But Miss B is an adult, and she has been an assistant principal for many years, and she has a voice, and she could speak directly to Principal Jehoda.
Yes, then she's had so much experience before. I've never seen something like this happen to her like this now.
And I think that's what worries the students is that we've never been in this type of like hostile environment before.
Right.
And it's just like, in my opinion, like it just seems like, I don't know if it's true, but it just seems like teachers are almost like scared to approach Principal Jehoda. I don't know if that's true, but like that's the way that it's coming off to students, and that's why we're here, because we don't want our teachers to be scared. We want them to teach us, and so that we can learn and we can go on and like get into
And I feel bad because what's going on here really is a distraction from teaching and from your experience. So I really do feel bad. But there is also a lot of misinformation that's circulating. So, it's up to, I'm not here to convince you guys. I'm here to just understand how people are feeling. I'm not trying to convince you one way or another. But there are people with different perceptions. There are people that are resistant to change. There are people that are not open-minded when a new person comes in. And it will be this, if Principal Jehoda wasn't here, someone else is going to come in that's new, that's going to make changes.
I think the school should have a say in the hire people that are left on such short notice.
The school does have a say, but ultimately the superintendent has a say. And I think that we do understand the culture and the traditions of the school. It's a great school. We want to protect it, but we do have a little bit of expertise in this area.
The association has to, we do not have a say in how an interim principal would have.
Okay, but that's not true. The Alumni Association. Okay, well, let me tell you the truth then, because I'm the one that is going to run the Level 1 committee. You'll be on it because you're an SLT member. The Alumni Association petitioned the chancellor, and the chancellor said that they do have a right to sit in on the Level 1 committee interview. So if the Alumni Association is saying that they don't have a right to sit in, they're welcome. There's 2 representatives that are welcome to sit in. Now, the chancellor set the guidelines. They can sit in, they can help formulate questions for all the people that are being interviewed. They cannot ask questions, nor do they have a voting right. Because the chancellor's regulations going back for, I don't know how many years, states that only school community members have a right to vote. So the alumni are not school community members. Teachers are, students are, right? So, and parents are. So the alumni will be able to be there, observe, participate, but they do not have a right to vote, nor should they. I mean, because they are distanced from the school. They graduated from the school a long time ago. Policies have changed. But they're certainly allowed to sit in as what we call participant observers to make sure that the process is carried out with integrity.
Before you mentioned the grading policy, how such old policies have really changed, and you asked how can you really define participation and how can you...
It was just an example.
Yes. But how do you define the school community? Because the alumni are very much still involved in the school, so I do think that they are part of the school community. Lots of students can talk to them, they can come back and visit, and they advocate for our school, and so which is why I think they're part of the school community, and I don't understand why this old policy that we cannot vote, is still...
Thank you guys for coming. Let's go to your over to the...
Thank you guys.
Well, that calls it for the classified students.
Down in the office.
Are you reading?